CSTV. We are back with another session to understand the ongoings in India and around us. The topic of discussion today will be increased frequency of unusual weather phenomena. I'm Kavya Dubey, Deputy Editor of CSTV, in conversation with Sri K.Siddhartha, a well-known earth scientist. He's been advisor to various state and international governments. Welcome, sir. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Kavya ji. Thank you.
Sir, on that note, beginning with a very basic question, is there a reason to worry about the increased frequency of unusual weather phenomena?
There is, and we're going to say it with all the type of authenticity. Now, you can consider that there has been snowstorm which have been witnessed in Athens, which has not seen snowstorms at all in this case. We saw snowstorms also in Saudi Arabia. And the storm also delivers some of the lowest temperatures that we have seen in the deserts as well. Now, forget about that part. In 2021, there has been an increased frequency of tropical cyclones, hurricanes in North America to such an extent that tropical cyclones which are going to be named in certain manner, the officials ran out of name. I mean, the frequency in this case was so high. There was another aspect in North America, that is the frequency of typhoons also went on to increase exponentially in this case. You will recall, Spain was one of those countries that experienced the coldest March at that point of time. We are talking about 2020. In Siberia, in Kazakhstan, in one of those regions, like Khakassia in Siberia, there was all of a sudden there was complete warming. Siberia has not seen such type of weather condition at all. Any place, like a certain time back, 3 years back, the same thing was witnessed in North Dakota in the United States. North Dakota witnessed a sudden drop in temperature. In this case, it was a sudden rise in temperature. There had been abnormal temperature contrast that have been witnessed in so many places. In Reykjavik Peninsula in Iceland, there was a volcano that erupted after almost like 800 years. Of course, that is not associated with the weather phenomena, but then the sequence of weather phenomena it led to in Iceland, that was seen to be believed in this case. Peru had been seeing some amount of torrential rainfalls. Mexico had seen a large-scale forest fires, largely because the temperature in those regions increased to a large extent. You will notice Australia has seen some amount of flooding. Now, when such type of weather phenomena start taking place, then you don't know how to adjust, how exactly to move into it, manage it, run away with it, or what to do. India has been experiencing similar type of abnormal weather phenomena of late as well. So we have a reason to worry about in this case.
What are the areas that have borne the brunt of these fluctuations in terms of overall impact on the environment?
Then environment doesn't going to get affected by such type of a so-called aberration. And we say it largely because it's part of the environment. All of those so-called weather aberrations that we going to call it, they're part and parcel of the environment, and it goes with the environment. And the whole of it, the nature is adjusted to it. It's only that certain things that we are not adjusted to, we go on to call it as weather aberration. But have you seen a snake complaining about it? A snail complaining about it? Some of these things like elk, Irish elk complaining about it? No animal will go to complain. It's only the human beings. And human beings complain only because it doesn't go to suit their interest. And that's the only reason that they complain about it. So most of these weather aberrations do not allow the people to get adapted. And because they do not go to allow it to adapt it, that's why the problem goes on to get compounded. Just imagine if the gust of a tropical cyclone goes on to increase, and by gust we mean that tropical cyclones come to any region, and the wind speed associated with the tropical cyclone is going to be normally about 150 to 200 kilometers per hour. But some of the gusts can go on to be 240 kilometers per hour and 280 kilometers per hour as well. So, of course, agriculture will go on to bear the brunt. Lifestyle will go on to bear a brunt. And in economic terms, the shipping will go on to bear brunt. Tropical cyclones are strong enough to sink an ultra large scale tanker without a trace. You can imagine, you can go on to build at least 5-6 football stadiums on those ultra large scale tankers, and still they can go to sink. You can go to see ice shelf breaking, like the one A76 that broke off Antarctica only 2 days back. Now, such type of ice shelf breaking is a Ron Ross Krishna ice shelf has actually gone on to bear the brunt. Summers are getting hotter, so the people are going to be getting bearing the brunt in this case. So it's not only temperature; it's even rainfall as well. The intensity of the rainfall and also the aberration in rainfall that we have seen in Kerala, that was in just 5 or 6 days, the amount of rainfall that took place in Kerala in 2018, that was unimaginable. And it had never happened in the last 125 years in this case. There are strong indications Arctic is melting. So Arctic is actually going to be bearing the brunt in this case. And the brunt is going to be in the form of Arctic fires. Arctic fire is a new phenomenon. Can you imagine a place where the temperatures are always almost normally going to be below freezing point, and that is a place that will go on to bear such type of brunt that can go to have fires also? That was unimaginable, unthinkable some time back. That is happening.
What about Arctic fires?
It's not a natural phenomenon, largely because the temperatures in Arctic region are low enough not to allow such type of fires to take place. So that's why it's not natural phenomenon. But then it has become of late, it's something like almost a routine part, and there have been reasons for it. Arctic fires, they take place, and that is responsible for putting, spewing something like 100 million tons of carbon shoot into the atmosphere. Why? Because beneath the Arctic region, the whole of this region is going to be permanently frozen. It's called as permafrost region. So the region is going to be permanently frozen. Now, in these permanent frozen zones, there is going to be a lot of carbon that has been blocked. In a sense, what we're going to say is that has been fixed. There has been carbon sequestration as well. And since the soil is going to be permanently frozen, it is also going to be some of these vegetations that have decayed and which are lying in that place. They go on to form a very good reservoir of carbon in that place. Now, what happens is, for any reason, if this carbon starts coming in contact with the atmosphere and accidentally maybe the temperature has increased, one fire will go on to allow the whole of the underbelly, the soil, subsoil region to be under fire. That is what is Arctic fire. It's less of a fire phenomena on the trees, more in the subsoil region.
Why have Arctic fires occurred and why are they a good indicator of unusual weather phenomena?
See, the greatest source of such aberration is that temperatures have been increasing in the whole of the world. We have seen that and we are convinced on that count as well. Now, some of these temperature increases, which are colloquially called as global warming and so on, they can be localized, like in urban regions, urban heat island effect. Some of them can go on to be even more localized in some places like thermal power plants. That is there as well. Now, what we are going to be talking about is if the temperatures in the whole of the world happen to be increasing, which they are, and there are abundant proofs of it, then a small temperature rise in the Arctic has the potential to release this carbon that was fixed beneath. And this carbon has been lying in that place since Pleistocene times. That means since last glaciation, because all of those glaciers that couldn't go on to melt, they are going to be in these areas. So what this is going to do is that any increase in temperature in that region will go on to have two effects. First is it will go on to bring this carbon into fire. Second is that it will also go on to allow the water to become more acidic. And as the Arctic waters become more acidic, they will go on to dissolve all of those microscopic marine organisms in those places. And once they have been dissolved, all those organisms that are microscopic, not calcareous, but carbonaceous organisms, they will start releasing carbon dioxide. And once this happens, there is no reverse gear at all. Now, what has happened in Arctic region is that in all of these regions are going to be irreversible decline. We are doing certain things nefarious in these regions. In Alaska, we are burning peat fires, we are burning trees as well in those regions. We're chopping of the trees. Deforestation is going to be rampant in these regions. And all of this fire that has taken place, once it starts from the trees, then it goes on to go underground. And once it goes on to go underground, then there is an enormous reservoir of carbon present in that region. And it's this enormous reservoir of carbon that will start burning, and that will start releasing more and more amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So it will go on to lead to a domino effect of sorts for the entire of the global atmospheric composition changes also.
What other natural phenomena can we consider beside Arctic fires?
The natural phenomena that we talked about in the very beginning had been one of them has been associated with tropical cyclone, other has been typhoons, other has been heat waves, and still other had been a certain type of short period cloud bursts as well in this place. Such type of cloud bursts which are going to be very, very localized, and they are going to be a part and parcel of it. They do not allow the people to get adapted to such type of situation at all. It is a part of it. Now consider that if you go on to talk about fronts, then the movement of the fronts go on to get affected because of such type of that is a reflection of the unusual weather phenomena, whatever may be their cause in this region. The polar vortex is likely to break through the vortex it has created for itself, and when it goes on to break itself, then God help all those regions in North America and as well as in Europe, because the temperatures in those regions are likely to plummet to such an extent that minus 50 degrees centigrade of temperature has been experienced in New York also. So these are the likely unusual weather phenomena that we have seen, that we have observed, and that we are a part of it. The most one of the most important natural phenomena had been unusual natural phenomena has been that of increasing frequency and increasing intensity of a tropical cyclone, particularly in India, because India has started seeing more of tropical cyclones in the pre-monsoon period, which was not present some time back. And that has been the greatest problem that India, and that will be the greatest problem that India will go to face in the coming days.
Is it not that tropical cyclones are indeed increasing in frequency? The very latest is the announcement for Cyclone Yaas hitting the eastern coast of India, and this is likely to make landfall around 26th or 27th of May, and this is going to be the second major event, in a very short span of time. I think in about less than 2 weeks.
See, tropical cyclones fuel on certain things like the temperature of the ocean water, so sea water, particularly the surface water. Now, tropical cyclones, in order to generate, they may require 27 degrees centigrade of sea surface temperature. Now, this will go on to lead to the generation of tropical cyclones. But once generated, they require to sustain themselves. And for this purpose of sustenance, the tropical cyclones will go on to require that the water depth in that place is up. The water depth in that place is going to be good amount, and 27 degrees centigrade of the depth of water temperature is going to be up till 200 meters minimum, because tropical cyclones will go on to allow some amount of a turbulence to take place on the surface, and if such type of a turbulence takes place, then what will happen is that all the water from below will go on to come and upwell in that region. And as this water goes on to come upwell in this region, the upwelling of this water, if it is going to be cold, it will go on to prevent any amount of an energy to the tropical cyclone will die. Now that means that increase in the tropical cyclones is taking place because of the fact that the temperatures of the water is increasing, and not only that the temperature of the water increases, the entire depth of temperature has increased to a large extent. That is reason number one. And that's not going to be only in Indian Ocean. Now, Indian Ocean receives such type of a tropical cyclone as a remnant, and remnant is going to be from the Pacific region, from the Indo-Pacific region, as we're going to be calling it geopolitically now. It is Indo-Pacific. Mostly it is going to be South China Sea, from where the typhoons take birth. And it is these typhoons, the broken portion of these typhoons find their way into Indian Ocean. And it is this, these remnants which are seeds, which are fuel for further development of tropical cyclone. Now, some of these cyclones that have taken place in India, like for example, Oki, they travel all the way from Andaman. Andaman is a mind it, Andaman is not the right region for the origin of tropical cyclones in this place. This is largely because near to Andaman, the conditions are not going to be very, very favorable. And when we're going to say that the conditions are not going to be favorable, we mean that the Coriolis force is not going to be strong in this place. Also, that this is also one of those places where the temperature of the water is also not going to be very high. And also, the air is not in a position to organize itself into a cyclonic activity. But still, a tropical cyclone was generated in that region, and that was surprising. Rather, I'll go on to use the word shocking of sorts. And not only that, from Andaman, it took place and it affected Kerala, western portion of Kerala. And it was not satisfied, and it traveled all the way towards the western coast of India, traversing, moving parallel to the west coast till Gujarat. It traveled no less than 3,000 kilometers. Now, that is an indication of the fact that tropical cyclones have started increasing in frequency, that is, in intensity as well. It can sustain itself for so long a time. That is something that really worrisome, because you do not go on to expect that fishermen in some places like Kollam, like Alapura, like Wayanad, in Kerala, they'll be actually adapted to such type of a situation. They are adapted to maybe a higher sea level during the monsoon period, but then they are not adapted to very high velocity winds like 200, 210 to 20 kilometers in general. So we will have to make a lot of adjustment in this case. So tropical cyclone have actually increased in frequency in this region, and that has been a case. This will keep on going, this will keep on moving, and we just think that there will be something that will happen which will going to prevent these tropical cyclones to not to form in these regions.
Considering the increased frequency of cyclonic activity in the Indian Ocean, how can we understand this?
Now, in Indian Ocean, this increased frequency is as I said, that is because of increasing temperature. And increasing temperature is because of many global factors. One of these global factors is going to be the El Nino. Another of this global factor is going to be the Martin-Julian oscillation. Another is still going to be another is the seesaw battle between the pressure temperature conditions changes that are taking place between the eastern portion of Australia and the western portion of Australia as well. And that goes on to affect India. It is also going to be affected by the jet stream, the ventilated jet stream, which is one of the jet streams that going to move very fast. And one of those jet streams which are responsible for giving a flip to the monsoons to generate and then to move towards a northeastern region from the southeastern region. So all in all, Indian Ocean is a right place for formation of tropical cyclone, because Indian Ocean is the only ocean in the whole of the world which is going to be covered by a land body on its northern side. It is this land body that is being there in the northern side that doesn't allow the water to go towards the Arctic region, and consequently, the whole of the ocean body is going to be warmer. This is largely because the exchange of water does not going to take place as much as it should be taking place, like in other oceans, like in Pacific Ocean. In Pacific Ocean, there is a small inlet that allows such type of water movement and the current movement to take place towards the northern zone. And but that is not going to be in Indian Ocean at all. It is going to be in Atlantic Ocean, because Atlantic Ocean is completely open from the north. It is only Indian Ocean that is completely closed from the north. So that does going to give a very good geostrategic advantage to India, but at the same time, so it's a real funneling situation for the tropical cyclones to form, and also to keep them getting aggravated in the region.
If tropical cyclones are increasing in frequency and changing tracks, how is the impact of this going to be different? And what can we do to prevent it or adapt to it if necessary?
Actually, to adapt to tropical cyclone is going to be a bit easy rather than to take preventive measures. Because as far as preventive measures have been concerned, people in the eastern coastal region had taken preventive measures, and they were by and large easily adapted to it, not to a very high intensity tropical cyclone. But then tropical cyclones were part and parcel of the ecosystem of the region, of this whole of the region, eastern coast. Now, so adaptation was one part. Western coastal region people will have to learn to adapt to such type of tropical cyclone, particularly in terms of construction, particularly in terms of the type of crops that they can go to grow, and they don't have to cry about that they had sown some of these crops and the crops are withered away, the crops are completely gone. The adaptation is in terms of structural measures as well, because in 2 days of time, a tropical cyclone is responsible for pouring so much amount of water that normally doesn't going to take place in some of these places which have something like some 50 to 60 centimeters of rainfall for the whole of the year. Now, having said that, the adaptation is going to be structural, the adaptation is going to be in terms of mitigation, the adaptation is going to be in terms of the rescue and relief operation. For example, just 2 years back, Kerala people never knew what exactly is going to be a relief operation with respect to a tropical cyclone. But now they have to learn how to cope up with it. And this is something that is completely new. In a similar manner, Goan people also never knew how exactly to adapt to a tropical cyclone. They will have to learn, so are the people of Karnataka and also Maharashtra, because this time the cyclone Taute had been very close to Mumbai coast, 145 kilometers only, and Mumbai has been by and large ravaged. Now, God forbid if a full intensity tropical cyclone goes on to make a landfall in Mumbai, can you imagine the amount of damage that it is going to be doing? So, Mumbai also people will have to adapt rather, and many changes have to take place in Mumbai. For example, all of the sewerage channels have to be completely remodified. Every monsoon, Mumbai goes on to get inundated. Now that is going to be remodified, and that has to be remodified so that it can go on to bear the enormous amount of pouring that is going to be generally associated with the tropical cyclone. So that is what we can go to say in short, that is the type of adaptation and to tropical cyclone as an unusual weather phenomena in the western part of the country.
Thank you, sir, for being with us and for bringing to us such amazing information. As we conclude, I must particularly thank you for sensitizing us towards environmental ethics and making us realize that the environment was here first, and it is we who have to do the adjusting to cope better with the environment, and neither things don't work the other way around. So thank you very much, sir. We hope to have another enriching session with you soon. Thank you.
To have more such discussion and analysis, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. And if you like the video, please do not forget to hit the like button so that we get inspired to give more such discussions in the coming future.